Good day everyone, GarageKing here, and on today's episode we are going to be doing the front brake pads on a first generation Venza. That's right, 2009 to 2015 is the approximate years that this vehicle was produced. So we're just going to do the front brake pads. Now, what we have to do first, oh, and by the way, that's me. I don't make it into a lot of these videos because I'm too busy filming what I'm doing, but anyway, that is me if you're curious. I was thinking, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not, but you know what? The viewers deserve to know the truth, so I'm calling out my friend FA. I have to do it. Upon some thought, I just have to do it on this. So anyway, if this guy offers to give you a ride in his car, just run, because these are the tires he drives in, and I told him he's just crazy. However, he can't find his tires on clearance, so he doesn't want to buy them. And you know what? When he pulls into the parking lot, this is what people do. That's right, they just run around, or run away. That's all they do is run away. So enough embarrassing my friend. Hopefully he gets the point. Let's get back to the job. So we got two 12mm bolts. That's what holds the caliper to the caliper bracket. I'm using my 3/8 impact gun, but you can easily use a wrench. Now, once you get the caliper off, what you're going to have to do is push the caliper pistons back. Now you can see here I'm using a special tool. It's like a ratcheting tool, and this thing, I tell you guys, it is a lifesaver, especially when you have a dual piston caliper like this, because a lot of times if you squeeze one piston in, the other one comes out, and a lot of times if you use a C-clamp, unless you are directly straight, you can cause binding, you can cause trouble with them. Try not to use big pliers because, I mean, they only push on an angle. So a tool like this is really good. It's worth its weight in gold, and it ensures that you don't damage anything. Now, the one thing a lot of people don't tell you when you're doing a brake job, and you'll see it on this one after I give them a little bit of a wipe with a rag, you'll see that the rubber boots did not go in properly with the pistons once we push the pistons back in, and you can see they're here. So you take a screwdriver. Now don't push too hard or you're going to cut it. You slowly got to go around it, or you know what, better yet, you can even use plastic tools if you're unsure, just you know, to take your time. I'll give you a little bit of zoom here and I'll show you a good versus bad. So that's how it looks when they're not pushed in. You can see the rubber seal, and that's how it looks good when it is pushed in. So you want to make sure that they're both pushed in properly. This happens on just various vehicles. It just happens. And here you can see both are pushed in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up some music, and I'll just jump in from time to time. Hey guys, so we got our brake pads here. So we're just taking a look at them, and if we take a ruler there, we can see they're pretty much worn out. There really is not much more left on them. So that's why we didn't change the rotors. We caught this one in time, and the rotors were in really good shape. So didn't have to change the rotors, so good catch, good catch. The customer was really good at bringing in their car for the brakes. Unfortunately, I can't convince the customer to get new tires yet, so this customer needs new tires. Okay, so I can't keep covering up. FA, you need new tires. You're not my customer, you're my friend. You need new tires. So let's get back over here to the caliper. So here you can see I can pull out the pin. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take some caliper lube, and we're going to put it on a long screwdriver and make sure we get it in there just to provide some lubrication in the bore, because a lot of times they do dry out. So you want to make sure they're lubricated well. After you clean the pin with some brake clean or degreaser, something like that, make sure the pin is really clean. All you do is you just pop it right back. Now, sometimes there can be a little bit of back pressure. All that is, when there's a little bit of back pressure, it just means there's some air in there or something like that. And you just usually got to push them and twist them, and they pop right in. Now, if you can't put them in for some reason and they seem like it's solid, then you got a hydraulic lock. And what that means is you just have too much. You just have too much lube. And in that case, just pull the pin out and just remove some of the lube, and then just try reinserting the pin again. That's all that is. So really, no big deal. Okay, and don't forget, you have to do this for the top part and the bottom part as well. And then we're going to go over to the bench and we are going to paint the pads with cool blue paint. No, I'm just kidding. It is not cool blue paint. It is very sticky stuff. What it is it's a type of anti-squeal. And some people have even asked me, they said, why do you have to put this stuff on? Like, what does it actually touch? When the caliper actually clamps down on it, it holds the pads tight. So this way they don't rattle, and it actually does prevent squealing. Here you can see the little arrow there where I'm putting some anti-seize on the pads. So you only want to put anti-seize on the ends here, and you don't want to overdo it because this stuff can go everywhere. And if you get it on the frictional pad material or on the rotors, it's not good. So you just want to keep it just on the end. And sorry there, I'm out of frame for a minute. I don't know, just bad camera. I need to hire a cameraman, guys. I really need a camera crew. But anyway, now we're just installing the pads, how they should go. And you'll see up here, there's holes. And what those holes are, they're for the springs, and the springs actually put a little bit of pressure, and what they do is they push the pads away from the rotors. So this way your brakes aren't dragging, right? Because once you let off the brakes, you want your pads to sort of come back. So it actually helps the piston as well, because it helps spread the pads back, and it's just good. There's less heat and it makes your vehicle more efficient. So the only thing is they're a little bit tricky to get on. If you don't get them on just right, sometimes you need it like a third hand. They can pop apart and fly apart all over the floor, and then you just got to do it again. So not a big deal. You can see here I've actually got them on without having them fly around. And now what I'll do is I'll just put the caliper body back on. Okay guys, had to stop the music because important tip. So the pins sometimes here have a flat spot. You have to make sure that that seats properly on the caliper, and you'll be able to tell, like just when you wiggle it and see, you'll be able to tell when you turn it. So just make sure that it seats properly. And once you do that, that's pretty much it. You just tighten up the bolts, and then make sure you have a pedal before you drive away. And what I mean by doing that is you slowly pump up the brake pedal, make sure you have a hard pedal, and then take it for a test drive. Okay everyone, so what did we use in the garage to do this job? Well, we used our anti-seize on the brake pads. There's our caliper lube, this thingamajigger that I used to hang the caliper so it didn't hang by the brake line. I used that. I used a 12mm ratchet there. And that was to undo the two bolts that hold the caliper to the caliper bracket. I actually used my impact gun to undo them, but don't worry, if you don't have an impact gun, not a big deal. You can just use a wrench. It's really not a big deal. Don't worry about it, guys. And then the other thing I used was a long screwdriver, just to get the lube inside of the pin bores, if you want to call them that. This little flathead screwdriver here, and what that was to push the dust boots back into where the pistons are. I used my caliper spreader thing there. I always use that every time. And I used a torque wrench with a 21mm socket. And you know what? I forgot to put up, I actually used that anti-squeal spray. That was that blue stuff that I sprayed on the pads. So that's pretty much it. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again.